podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Today's guest, right?
All right.
Gabe, are we good?
We are rolling whenever you're ready.
All right. Today's guest is Ashly Hughes, founder of Go Savvy Social, a marketing strategist, creative director, and a small business ally who helps companies build brands that actually connect. Ashly, what I respect about you isn't just your strategy, it's your stamina. And you've got a work ethic that punches way above its weight. And you are one of the few voices in marketing still advocating for clarity, brand consistency, and actual results. What am I leaving out?
Did you write that yourself or did you use AI?
Of course I use AI for it. It's a tool. It's part of the thing.
That was phenomenal. How many times did you alter it before it was perfected?
I have built, okay, this is great. So I built a template all on setting up these intros for these conversations. And I've set it to say, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. This is what they're trying to accomplish. This is the intention of how we're going to edify them as we kick off an interview process. And ChatGPT is my buddy. And it has been a tool that I have dove into a lot.
Same.
Is this the one you use?
I don't think you left anything out.
Great. Fill in some of the gaps. Who are the kind of clients that you are working with? Where do you fit into the marketing space? Why the heck do you matter right now?
I'm fitting mostly into the trades, home services space. My initial focus was distribution and manufacturing, and the trades have chosen me. So I don't necessarily know how that came about, but I definitely think from a personality standpoint that it just jives. I think it's my clarity and directness that attracts the clients in that space.
She said with a big upward question mark at the end.
I don't know why. I maybe ask my clients why they've chosen to work with me. And I don't ask that enough, probably.
What's going on in the industry right now? The trades are all hurting, whether it's construction, it's HVAC, it's plumbing, electrical. Depending on the company, they might be really struggling right now. What are you seeing?
We're looking at private equity. We're looking at increased ad spend during the prime times. If we don't figure out how to level the playing field in an organic space, you are going to be out every dollar you made during the prime time trying to get against private equity.
All right. So one of the things that the owners we work with frequently are talking about, how do I possibly pay for organic right now? I can't justify that. I got rising expenses in people. I got material costs. I got tariffs going on. I got competitors are overbuying ad spend, and now they're recruiting some of my best people out. How do I possibly stick out in the organic space right now?
Do you see them still having an ad spend with a marketing agency?
Some of them. It's kind of split right now. And that's kind of a beautiful depiction of how do you distinguish a company that is spending on outsourced brand development or outsourced organic versus those that have no spend right now and they're not doing anything? What do you see about those two camps?
I think that most companies have some sort of marketing spend, understanding what they're actually doing with it. I think most of the trade spaces don't necessarily understand the analytics behind it because they're tradesmen. They're not marketing professionals. They sometimes barely know how to be business owners. They were a pissed off technician that became an owner. And now they're an owner and trying to figure out that space. And I know that a lot of us owners are trying to figure out our own space, but they should not be dabbling in trying to figure out their marketing when they need to be coaching their team on great installs so that reflects in their digital space. So with that, knowing what you're spending on marketing and how to look at the analytics and not getting a skewed result from reporting from an agency, like you don't just hire an agency, boom, that box is checked. And now I don't need any marketing collateral or anything to provide my consumer, or there's just a lot in that space. I think I want
how does
there.
a business owner or a leadership team that is dealing with, they're having to wear all those hats? You know, how do you set up an organization to be successful? How does any business in the space that's saying, hey, I know I need to cut some money out of my budget in order to invest into our marketing spend? Do I hire somebody? Do I hire an agency to do social media work? Do I hire them to build assets for me and brochures so that my team is more effective? How do you go about diagnosing like where to start with a company?
I think that's what's unique about myself and Go Savvy Social is we analyze all of that for you. So we come in, we do an audit of what's existing. We look at the existing contracts. We look at the existing ad spend. We create an operational process between operations on site and sales teams and marketing agencies. When we come back with the audit, 9 times out of 10 not being what the contract was in a marketing agency, we then say, how do we pivot the agency to perform for us? So you may see that you have a cost per conversion of $250, but then you go into the cost per acquisition and you're looking at a cost of $1,200, and that might be for a $25 repair, and that might be for a $20,000 full installation, but does it balance with what you have into your ad spend and overhead and all of those things? And then how do we pivot that marketing agency to perform what they promised you, which is probably some sort of ROI, posting strategy, so forth. And if we can't pivot them, then we end up in a conversation about how we pivot them to another agency that might be able to perform, or if it's something that we manage. Getting that.
You use 2 interesting KPIs in there, cost per acquisition and cost per conversion. What does that mean? What are the differences?
Cost per conversion is getting them, and that could be different per agency as well, but conversion to me and conversion to most agencies means it is now in your pipeline funnel and there should be a sales representative on it. They've called, they've submitted a form, they've done their due diligence in getting them to your funnel. Now it's your job to land the position. So a lot of marketing agencies will say, well, we got you X amount. Well, then when it gets into your sales pipeline, where are we fumbling the acquisition to make that cost so high? And a marketing agency is not going to do that for you. Go Savvy Social is going to say, have we looked at the sales team? Have we looked at the CSR process? Where is the ball being dropped in the funnel so that we can bring that acquisition cost closer to the conversion cost?
So walk me through the CSR setup. How do we make sure, what is a CSR? What does it look like to be ready for Go Savvy Social?
Most of the teams we work with already have somebody answering their phones. How are they answering the phones? Do you have any recordings in place right now? A lot of home service companies have distribution that are projecting softwares on them and have that in place if they have progressively analyze the software. So maybe we can review voice conversations. Some already have AI grading of the CSR, customer service representative, going through the acquisition process with them, getting it on the calendar. Can we attribute a percentage booked through that call? Or is that something that a software we can put in place to track how how their conversations are going? Then when it gets to your sales professional and they're going out to the job site, what are they saying on site? Are they asking for the close? Have they been trained properly to ask for the sale or walk through your process to educate the homeowner on why they should be choosing you? How long is that? Does that feel like a lot for your homeowner? A lot of those questions, it's different per organization.
So it sounds like you do a really thorough job helping some of these business owners who are like, there's a lot to know. There's so much language. There's so much infrastructure needed. There's so much systematizing. There's so much analytic development. I don't even know where to start. So how does that not just then suck up a bunch of your time with your team as you start to uncover, you got a lot of work you need to get done, and here's why we got to lay all this out. How do you stay bandwidth? How do you have any space for that?
Because we've done the work to have partners like you, partners like performing agencies and so forth to say, we have this structure for you. Let's vet that specific to your organization. If there are areas that are not performing, that it does, to be honest, it takes 3 to 6 months to find that. If we can find that, and then to create pivots in the right direction, as far as software's team structure, operational processes, SOPs, so forth, depending on the organization. So we have that stream.
SOPs, what is that?
Standard operating processes.
Why does that matter?
Because if you do not have processes for your organization, everyone is doing it differently, and your consumer is getting a completely different experience every time they visit your organization. And that could lead to, bad Google reviews, which affects your digital performance. So maybe you're not showing up in the organic space as much as you should because your Google reviews are pulling you down. Maybe, it's kind of all over the board with the projection to your consumer.
Ashly, you sound like you are really taking ownership and accountability for your client's brand. Why is that different? Why is that unique?
Because I think a lot of marketing segmented companies think about brand as your colors, your tonality, your persona, but they don't dig into the implementation and strategy as it pertains to the organization. We're not all cookie cutter. Just because I work with one HVAC company doesn't mean the next HVAC company is identical and that I can put a template on you and it'll work for you too. We need to spend time there, and we need to integrate with the team and organization. A marketing agency is not going to do that.
So one of the things that I've appreciated about talking to you over the last year and a half or so that we've been working on a couple different projects is the idea of taking a holistic assessment of a company's current infrastructure and what they have capacity for. You actually inspired our most downloaded, our most requested tool, which is our marketing roulette. This is a tool you're familiar with. You helped inspire this one. We'll get it up on the screen for any of our people who are watching the video of this. But it's this whole way of looking at, a lot of companies are out hawking SEO and websites, but they're not taking ownership of, well, who's creating assets and what's the brand consistency of the assets? And is that consistent with what we're doing with our company? What are you noticing from other agencies? 2024 was terrible on the marketing space. We saw a lot of people go under. What's different now? What is the market asking for?
The market is asking for real humans. Yes, we have AI. We can support the text with AI. Some companies are choosing to dabble in the AI videos and so forth, and we're seeing some performance with that. But making sure that you have humans behind your brand is super, super important. I mean, that's how we perform in a digital space with organics is using the humans, and textually we can say the right messaging because of what AI can produce for us based on what video or what static posting we're using.
So one of the topics that you and I have discussed quite a bit of is the difference between what is going on with digital marketing right now versus what is going on with networking. Seems like the market's given us pretty strong bifurcation and feedback. What do you see about those two?
Oh boy. Networking is extremely difficult right now. I would say, much like the digital space, there's a lot of time, energy, and effort that needs to go into the production of the relationship and people to feel like there's real connection. Since 2020, we have this divide of personalities and defining why a certain human is not your human and why they are, and then making sure that you're pulling all those people that are in your realm of what you're trying to create as close to you as possible. And how do you do that digitally, and how do you do that networking? I'm an outlier in that I don't necessarily believe in paying for large level networking in person, because I genuinely nurture my relationships. I try to stay close to the people that I've met that stand out and make referrals into their network. And I'm more about finding the people that I relate to in a networking space and their word of mouth versus me trying to prospect in a networking space and attacking that one human in the space that I need business from when they don't even realize they want to work with me, nor do our personalities jive together. But I find when I have the humans next to me that most relate to me, they attract the humans that want to work with me. And in turn, I can make great referrals to them. In the digital space, it should be very similar. Like, are you, after I connect with you, am I adding you on LinkedIn? Are you, have we got to a space where I'm adding you to some of my personal networks? Are you, and then how are you maintaining that relationship and outreach digitally and in person?
It feels like there's two camps. So there's a lot of people who say spray into the digital because I can get more numbers, I can get more eyes. But the market's saying may not be getting the results we're looking for there. Okay, well, that didn't work. Then let's go to networking. Let's go to all the different events because there's so much out there. Well, but there's a lot of people there. There's a lot of change in the market. There's a lot of folks who are finding themselves out networking for the first time. So is it a numbers game? And I'm just trying to get as many eyes and impressions as possible. How do you start to distinguish? When do you go deep with someone? When do you let them in from a relationship perspective?
So you asked at least 3 questions in there, I feel like.
Batter up. Pick which one you want. Throw one.
If you refer to your marketing roulette, and you should play in every bucket of that roulette. I mean, because your organization should have structure not only digitally, but in person, and then into philanthropy. And so are you dabbling in all the spaces and try each of them for at minimum a 3-month period? Is it working for at minimum a 3-month period? If you're playing in mailers, are you doing it more than you can't just mail once? It's a re-exposure to the brand, to the humans, it's continuous exposure. So when you start to attract these humans, they will be in those other spaces for you. You don't need to continuously be in that space if you've already pulled your humans out of it. I don't know if I answered that question. Cut that, Gabe.
One second.
I don't know I was like, I heard 4 different questions in there. My squirrel went everywhere.
It's great feedback. That was, yeah.
I'm like, where did I even answer anything?
I'll do better with that one.
What was the question again?
Let me redirect it slightly. When it comes to networking and it comes to relationships, it seems like intimacy and like actually having trust really matters. So for all the people who are out there saying, oh, I do networking, I go to this thing and I talk about my spiel and I get my 30 seconds of podium time. Isn't that networking? Isn't that what it's supposed to be for sales reps or business owners?
No.
Well, why not? I'm going to groups. I'm going and I'm handing out business cards and I'm wearing my polo with my logo on it. That's what I'm supposed to do, right?
It's what you're supposed to do if you're a paid employee just trying to produce the bare minimum for an organization.
Bare minimum for an organization.
When you find connection, you find a deeper reasoning for doing what you're doing. And especially in a sales space, you have your own brand you need to maintain. So how, if God forbid you don't work for the organization anymore, other people are watching you. So the networking that you're doing for the organization should also be networking you're doing for your personal brand, for projection into a new organization, for growth in your own space. So instead of looking at what the company needs me to do and the sales that I need to make, how do I find joy in these spaces? And how do I genuinely continue to, because you get burnt out. It doesn't matter how it doesn't matter how much you like people, you get burnt out on networking. There are days I just decide to stay home because it's what's best for my personality and everyone that would surround themselves with me that day. And actually somebody said that at in one of the company meetings that I work for. She said I don't go to networking when I don't feel like it. And there was some backlash because she didn't say what she was doing in the meantime. I stay home and I make phone calls that day. I stay home. It's not that I'm not being progressive with my time. It's that I'm protecting my energy. And the more we protect our energy, and being that we're surrounding ourselves with great humans, the better our capability is to get into other networks. How do I find my ideal person? Is I just look for my equal energy. Are they trying to get somewhere? Are they not selling me something immediately? Are they having buy-in on what I'm doing when I'm not talking?
Really interesting. So let's assume you've got potential business owner listening to this. You make a comment about attracting people who have your energy, that are on your level. Mm-hmm. What happens when you work with companies that their sales force or their business development team, they're not bringing that kind of energy? How do you advocate for that company?
I have a few of those companies. We
all do. I mean, that's really the whole point of this conversation, is like, how do I attract those with the energy that are going to help build something?
So ideally, I've attracted the company for a reason. My personal tagline is to influence progress with passion, development by action. And
can you say that again, just so I catch that?
Influence progress with passion, development by action. So that's not a Go Savvy Social thing. It's my personal. And ideally, and actually some of my previous peers still come to me because they've been influenced by what I'm putting out there. So what I'm putting out there is something that you're attracted to, something that my decision maker wants for their organization. So maybe it's my spunky personality, maybe it's my tenacity, maybe it's my ability to sell without selling, maybe it's whatever sparked their interest in me is an energy I'm providing to them that they want to bring into their organization. So I think that dynamic still works as long as they're willing to say, we're owning this. We hired her. You will, this is accountability piece now. Not that we're, strong arming the teams to action, but we're influencing development by showing the action, displaying the action. Like our kids brushing their teeth every day. Do you brush your teeth every day? Are you in front of them brushing your teeth every day to model that behavior? And if we can get one or two people to subscribe to what we're doing and them have fun doing it, all of a sudden you see other people very interested in coming over to my side. And now, development with action, progress with passion.
That sounds scary. That sounds disruptive. My business is just okay. We've been doing okay. We just need more leads. Well, I don't need to, leader doesn't need to be doing anything different, right?
I have a great partner for you that will be a fit for you, but you're not my client.
What do you do? How do you advocate for a company when they're being held back by the energy of their team that just can't inspire them, can't move them? How do you move them forward?
I have very real conversations. And that's why I probably fit into the trade space, because I am not afraid to tell you that you have someone on your team that's holding you back, or that we're having performance issues because of progress or adaptive progress into the organization. And that is something that I need my owner or my decision maker to be very accountable to prior to our sign of contract. You need to be able to back me up in what I'm saying. I haven't had anyone come to me, any of my clients come to me and be like, you're wrong, that you're wrong. No, I've said, I have a partner that can handle, infused into your network, how do we get Josh John involved? Because it's not something that I necessarily handle, but it's something that we can bring in as a dynamic to balance some of what we're seeing displayed in the organization to be progressive.
I've seen I got an insight from a gentleman recently who said, if you put a proposal of an ideal client in front of 10 people, 10 business owners, 3 of them are going to say no because they already know how to do it and they know everything. 3 of them are going to say yes, they're going to pay for it, but then they won't follow through with it. The last 4 are some variation of they'll take it, they'll apply it, and they'll get great results out of it. That middle section, the people who will pay but then not do anything, what do you do? How do you support those companies?
I thought I had one last year that was not making progress, and they decided to continue with me, despite the fact that I thought the contract probably should end. And this year, they're pulling it. They're pulling through. I'm impressed. I am blown out of the water. I think sometimes people just need longer belief and somebody standing by them saying that you got this, you can do this, you need to keep pushing, you need to keep going. It's a struggle right now, but we're moving this. And maybe there's always going to be the ones that fall off, but I think I have a deeper belief in the people that I sign contracts with. Like, I know that they're capable of it.
Really good. So let's do 2 more. Before someone should sign a contract with you or come seeking it, what do you wish more of your prospective partners, clients knew before they came to a conversation with you?
I prefer the really, I would like them to know that they know they're not doing something right. They know they've failed multiple times in the marketing space. Maybe they know where the spot is that they're failing, or they have an idea of where. I want them to know that they have a problem. So, and feel like they have an opportunity to change it.
Last one is my favorite question that I ever have with salespeople, partners, clients, vendors, hires. What should I be asking you about?
You know what? You asked me in a text message a few weeks ago about, is that just noise? And I've dwelled on the noise topic because, yes, there's a lot of movement and things being projected and a lot of ways to create content and push out there as your brand or your company's brand. But I'm just drawn towards the word noise because it kind of relates to disruption. And I feel like you need to be out there and dynamic and make some noise. So I'm trying to bring the negativity into the word noise, and I don't know that it's there for me. So what should you be asking? Is noise a bad thing?
How do you use it?
How do I use noise in...
How do you use that noise as a tool? What does that trigger when we go back to where you started with analytics? Why is noise valuable? Why is disruption valuable?
Because it stands out and people start to notice you showing up over and over and over again. Now, if you're making noise not consistently, that is a negative connotation to noise. But if you're making noise consistently and it's on message and on point, and I think in making my own videos lately, they comment to me about it, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm not prepared for this, but because I don't like to talk about my noise in person. I want to be alone.
For anyone who's not watching, we should probably call out the fact that she has a giant yellow truck. So for someone who doesn't mind noise or doesn't like noise, you have a funny way of presenting that.
I do. You're right. I think there's noise. I just don't like to talk about it, like in person. I don't Yeah, I just prefer to, and I'm an extrovert, but I do prefer to just be a quiet extrovert, maybe. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know the best way to describe it.
Ashly has made a tremendous contribution to many of her clients over the last year. It's been really fun to see what you've done since going independent, what you've been doing to build your brand up, and how you've continued to rebrand and re-elevate what you are doing. For any of the folks who might be listening or watching this, what's the best way to find you or get in touch?
GoSavvySocial.com, SAVVY. Apparently that's a thing lately. Or find me on LinkedIn. It's Ashly without an E, Hughes.
Ashly, thank you for coming on CBC Talks. Any final thoughts or ideas for the day?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
I chase squirrels when I'm talking.
You're
Sometimes
fine,
I'm like, did I even answer the question?
I threw too many softballs at you. I gave you all sorts of stuff, and we ran down a couple rabbit holes.
I do genuinely not like to